Welcome to this virtual career speaker series session celebrating Black History Month. This presentation features the marketing profession and entrepreneurship. We want to welcome our speaker, Terry Moden, a digital marketing consultant with M. Roberts Digital. She is also a business growth strategist working with the Innovation Collective. Ms. Moden is a native of Victoria. She has a marketing degree from the University of Texas over at Austin and a Master in Business Administration from the University of Houston here in Victoria. So let me go ahead and turn this meeting over to you, Ms. Moden.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hunt. Again, my name is Terry Moden, and I am happy to be speaking with you today just about the career of marketing, specifically digital marketing, and also entrepreneurship. So a little bit about myself. Again, I am from this area, so I am a Crossroads native. When I graduated from high school, I went to Goliad High School. I had sworn that I was never going to come back to the area, but actually after I graduated college, came back and got my master's, went away, said I'd never come back. After many years, I did come back. So most people in the community know me as a super connector. A lot of people actually don't know exactly what it is I do, but they know that if they are connected anyway in business, if they have a business themselves or they run a company, they somehow figure out they want to talk to me to be able to help connect them to different resources in the community. So a little bit about why I chose the field of marketing. And I'm going to be talking from two perspectives. One is going to be what I do on a day-to-day basis as a digital marketing consultant with M. Roberts Digital, but I am also an entrepreneur as well. So I do have my own business as a business consultant. I chose marketing because I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. My father owns a restaurant. He now has had that business for about 45 to 47 years, still very successful in business. But I grew up in a family operated business. My grandfather had a garage. He was a mechanic back in the day. So I saw entrepreneurship around me and I knew I wanted to do something that helped business owners. When I went to college and I got my undergraduate degree in business, specifically in marketing from the University of Texas, when I first went there, my first thought was I wanted to go into law. And my career aspiration when I went to college was to go into corporate law. One of the messages I certainly want high schoolers to understand is don't think just because you start out in your mind one way that you have a particular field in mind, don't think you can't change it. Because I got in and after about a semester in college, I realized, no, I really don't think I want to do law. And I decided to focus on marketing. Most of my life, I've worked in positions that either promoted marketing or sales. So I've been in various sales positions. I've worked as a financial advisor, which actually is a sales position because you've got to not only know how to do finances and help people make money, you have to sell them on the ideas and strategies for them to work with you. I also spent about 10 years in pharmaceutical sales, and a great career that I absolutely enjoyed. But right now, what I do as a digital marketing consultant, I absolutely love it because I get to work with the people who are my heart every day. And that's working with business owners. What I do as a digital marketing consultant, it is, and I'll let every young person out there know, it is a great field to be in because it changes all the time. You have the ability to deal with technology. A lot of you are already on social media. So social media is a big part of what I do. As a digital marketing consultant, I work with businesses, whether it's a small mom and pop business, it might be a brand new business, it may be a brand new restaurant opening up, it might be a new boutique that's opening up, to working with larger companies that have locations, throughout the US, some locations in other countries, also to education, working with colleges and university systems. But what I do as a digital marketing consultant is I work with a client to really understand what message do they want to get in front of people. And I show them different ways to get that message out to people online. So they may want to sell something they have. So they're trying to sell products or services. They may just want to create an awareness that, hey, their business is brand new and they're here. Or they may be trying to persuade people to do something. And we do that using social media. Most of you, well, everybody, out there is going to have either an iPhone or an Android. So with different apps that you use, some of you may have seen when you go to open up an app that you have to see an ad before that app starts. So if or play one of the games or just different apps you have, start to take notice. You'll see different ads that come across as you're doing those things. You've probably been on a website and you've seen what I call the Amazon effect. That Amazon effect is where if you go to Amazon and you see some cute shoes or a blouse and you look at it, but you don't buy it, now you start seeing those cute shoes follow you to every website you go to. That's part of what we do. We help get a company's ad or a marketing message, again, out on the internet, out online, or through an app, or through social media, so people get that marketing message. Now, what is it that I enjoy most about my job? I would say I enjoy most being able to connect with business owners and really helping to educate them on the fact that there is a whole new world that they can use online to help get their information out. I know none of you probably even look at a newspaper. It used to be the way businesses and companies got their information out was they put something in the newspaper, or they may put something on a billboard or in a magazine. Now, for a company to be successful, for a business to be successful, they have to do something digitally. One of the things that I like, and I encourage young people, this is one of the big reasons I encourage the young people to look at the field of digital marketing, is because you have the ability to educate people, oftentimes who are older than you're going to be. It may be people you're working with who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, who may be intimidated by how the internet works, may not realize how they can use different strategies and put together a marketing message, again, to go on social media. Even now, a lot of businesses use Facebook. They use Instagram, but for many businesses, things like TikTok and Snapchat are a whole new arena. Those are absolutely things that you're able to, with your experience and being a young person on those social channels, that you're able to help someone with. Now, in terms of the level of training that's required for my position as a digital marketing consultant, there actually does not have to be, it depends on the company you work with, it does not have to be a ton of training involved. If you work for a company, most companies will train you. Many companies also have an entry-level position that, at least at our company, within M. Roberts Digital, the entry-level position is a digital marketing assistant. And that's where you work with the digital marketing consultants. You sit in on their meetings. You hear about the different strategies that they're recommending, and you're communicating with the digital marketing team. So again, myself, I'm a consultant where I am really understanding what a client needs and I'm making recommendations, but we have a whole separate team that they will do the graphics for, a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad or social media ad. They put together what I call the back end work. They put together all that brainiac type of things to be able to get a campaign going, a digital marketing campaign going. So the assistant, they take take a lot of the work off of our plates because they communicate directly with the production team on what we need to do. They also have a lot of communication with the client as well. So if we have to update something or change something around, they talk to the client. So that's a great entry point in being able to get your feet wet, learning about things, and then you can make a decision if you want to go in that sales and consulting side. The other thing I'm seeing is that many companies that do digital marketing are also starting to have internships that are available. So if you are interested in the digital marketing field, one of the things you can do is you can start looking up, just look up internships for digital marketing companies. The great thing about working in digital marketing is oftentimes it can be a remote position, meaning you don't have to always be in the office. And that's how I operate. Sometimes I'm in the office right now. I'm in our office. We are in downtown Victoria, and we're in the highest building downtown. We're on the top floor, the 12th floor, but I do a lot of work at home as well. So I have a lot of freedom and flexibility. I also meet with a lot of clients and prospective clients at our local coffee shop as well. Again, doing something in technology, especially like digital marketing, it gives you a lot of freedom and flexibility where you can usually choose to work how you want to work. Now, the academic knowledge that you need, you definitely need as a consultant, as a digital marketing consultant. I use math every day. I know a lot of you hate to hear that, but I do use math. And the way I use it is because a client will tell me what budget they have, how much do they want to spend on marketing with us, over a month. And what I have to do is I have to figure out what strategies are going to work best to fit within that budget. And sometimes, I've got to really look to see, do we want to do, these 3 strategies, or do I need to just do these 2 strategies? I need to look at the pricing of our strategies. So again, on a daily basis, I'm using math to work within a client's budget so we can do the best job that we possibly can for them. Technology, definitely, that we're in a technology field. And one of the things that's exciting about digital marketing is, so if you're somebody who thinks, you want to be in a field that there's always changes, there's always innovation and new things coming out, digital marketing is exceptional because there's always different strategies that come out. There are different changes that are happening. One of the things now that I let a lot of young people tell you, really make sure you're learning is, I know a lot of times you may not be, so what my daughter tells me, who's 16, is that, Mom, Facebook is for the older people. But Facebook has now changed to Meta, and there is a whole Metaverse. So if you haven't looked at what the Metaverse is, I encourage you to do so, because there's going to be so much opportunity to do work virtually in the Metaverse. There's so many needs that are coming up. If you even just Google jobs for the Metaverse, you'll start to see different things that are absolutely amazing. Large companies like Walmart, Adidas, large banks, JP Morgan Chase, they're starting to hire people to help them work in the Metaverse, which, if you haven't heard of the Metaverse, it's basically a virtual world. The way I explained it to my daughter, who I'm sure many of you are like her, at some point in your lives, you have played Sims, and you're familiar with that, or Minecraft or Roblox. That's really kind of what the Metaverse is. And the Metaverse is a virtual world that people are going to operate business in. So that's a great area, again, to really take a look at. Reading, absolutely. You've got to be proficient in reading, because you have to look at a message that a business may want you to get out. and you've got to make sure it's written well, that the public or their audience, their target audience is going to understand it, that it's going to make sense for them. As again, like I said, entry level opportunities, I would look at something like a digital marketing assistant. And you absolutely, with many companies or just in the industry in general, you've got the ability to work your way up the ladder. So you may start out in something entry level and you can continue to progress to where you may want to be a director of digital marketing, meaning you are overseeing all of the digital marketing sales consultants and the digital marketing production team, where you're overseeing an entire department. You can also decide that you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to open your own business. There are a lot of people out there, a ton of people who have decided, they have learned digital marketing and now they want to do it for themselves, whether they choose to be just a one-person show where it's just them doing digital marketing strategies for clients, or they may decide to grow a business where they hire employees and hire a team. But you absolutely can work your way up through a number of arenas. You don't, with digital marketing, you don't just have to work for a digital marketing agency or a digital marketing company. Many, especially many big companies out there have a digital marketing, their own in-house digital marketing team. So that's something you've got the ability to do as well. In terms of salaries for the digital marketing industry, as a sales consultant, I would say on average, because it depends if you are in a metropolitan area. So if you're in the city, a big city like Houston or Austin or Los Angeles, that pay many times may be different than if you're in a smaller area. So pay and salary is usually anywhere from $45,000 on up. The great thing is if you're in a sales role, if you're in a consultant role, you have the ability to earn commission, which is a great thing because there's no cap on how much you can make. So there are digital marketing consultants that they may have a base pay or a salary of anywhere from $45,000 to $60,000, but they make six figures. They make over $100,000 a year because of the commissions they make. So it can be a very, very lucrative field for you, especially when you're on the sales side and you've got the ability to earn commissions. Internships, some companies are starting to do internships, paid and unpaid. As a matter of fact, I know our company, M. Roberts Digital, that's one of the things we're working on this year. I believe it's going to be either in the summer or the fall to roll out an internship. I'm not sure if it's paid or unpaid, but that's something we're working on. And that's something you can Google. You can go to Google and put in a search, internships with digital marketing companies or digital marketing internships, and you can start to get an idea of what's out there. One of the very important sets of skills you need are what you probably heard call interpersonal skills. So kind of soft skills, people skills. So in digital marketing, kind of the consulting, again, on the sales side, you absolutely have to be able to communicate with people. And since we are now, in the day of technology and, post as we're coming out of COVID, just like we're doing this Zoom, I have a lot of meetings that are on Zoom. So you have to be able to know how to give a presentation on Zoom, to be able to, look in the camera. So you're actually making eye contact with people when you're doing it virtually. But when you're meeting face to face, you have to be able to hold a conversation with them. You have to be able to have some small talk, in the beginning with them. You have to be able to make people feel comfortable and be able to take very complex ideas, because again, a lot of people do not understand, how social media works, how some of these digital marketing strategies work. And you've got to be able to take kind of the inner workings of how those things operate and break it down to the very simple, so absolutely everybody can understand it. And you have to be able to flow back and forth in conversation. So there's some people who are going to be very technical, and they they understand very technical terms, and you're going to have to use that technical language with them. And then there's going to be some people that say, I have no idea how any of this works. And you have to explain it to them like they're 5 years old. And you've got to be able to understand, again, how you communicate with people. You also have to have organization. You've got to be very, very organized, because if you are on the sales side with digital marketing, and even if you're doing really almost any area of digital marketing, you're going to have different clients you're working with at different times. You're going to have different projects that you're working with. So you have to be able to manage your time and know how much time you can spend working on a project before you have to go to the next one. And you have to be able to organize your calendar, because you don't want to have, 5, 6, 7 client appointments in one day on Monday, and not be able to do all of the things you're supposed to do for them in a timely manner. So you absolutely start learning that skill set, if you haven't already, of keeping an organized calendar, because you're going to need it once you graduate, whether you go on to college, or whether you go on to trade school, whether you go into the workforce. You're going to have organization and be able to balance the multiple things that you're working on. Physical requirements for the career. There's really no specific physical requirements. We're not out, packing 50-pound bags or moving boxes around or anything like that. You do have to be comfortable at times, sitting at a desk, maybe for hours at a time as you're doing work or having, virtual meetings like this. And you have to be able to be very proficient on a computer. So you've got to be able to, I would say, kind of type at a decent rate. And I know many people are, of course, very proficient, with texting, but you also have to be very proficient on a keyboard in terms of being able to get information out pretty quickly. Are there any safety, issues or personal protective equipment required? No, there's not. Now, during COVID, of course, when numbers were high, if we were coming into the office, we wore a mask, when we were in the office during those times. And we would kind of almost quarantine ourselves within the office. So where we used to have, meetings in a conference room, where it might be anywhere from 6 to 10, 12 people that came together in a conference room to meet for a staff meeting. Like right now, we do those virtually. So we may still all be in the office, but we're all at our desks and not meeting all physically in one location. Does my particular job require travel? So mine, yes. And that's just because I like to meet with clients face to face whenever I can. Keep in mind, with digital marketing, it is something that many times you can do 100%, remotely at an office location, or whether it's at home, where you don't have to travel at all. But I choose to travel because when I can, I like to meet a client at their office, at their work location, or again, I like to get with them just over coffee. So I do like to get out of the office. Challenges in my career. So, and just one of the things that I want to stress is, and I kind of said it a little bit earlier, don't think that just because you start out in one career that you've got to stay in that career for life. You do not have to do that. You can absolutely explore different careers. So, and just because you go to college and you major in one thing doesn't mean that's the one thing you have to do or the only type of job you have to have for the rest of your life. So for me, um, career challenges that have come up, and I'm going to kind of go back to when I was in pharmaceutical sales and medical sales. Um, at the time I was in those sales positions, the pharmaceutical industry could be very volatile, meaning there were ups and downs in the industry. And I had, it was at least 3 different times in that 10, 12 year period in pharmaceutical sales that I was laid off because, again, the company decided they were going to downsize or they were going to realign a territory and change the territory that I was calling on. So, just like anything in today's economy, uh, that's probably kind of one of the biggest challenges that's out there is the when you're working for somebody is the potential to be laid off. I will say though, with digital marketing, because it is such an expanding field and such a growing industry, if you come in and you find a company you like or you decide to do it on your own, truly the sky is the limit because you can do so much in this field and there is so much opportunity. I know one of the questions that I get asked is in discussions like this is, has COVID-19 changed the industry or changed my job? And I started this job in the middle of COVID when I came to this company. So the only way that it has really impacted my job is back to what I was saying earlier with, sometimes we have to kind of quarantine from one another. If we've got if there's an outbreak or if there's 1 or 2 people in the office that have had COVID. But from an opportunity standpoint, uh, COVID has really made companies realize they have to do more digital marketing. Because think about it, especially when we were quarantined and so many things were shut down. Uh, Restaurants had to get information out to people that they were now doing curbside pickup or they were doing delivery. Uh, People, some of the stores, that retail stores that were used to people just walking in making purchases, that wasn't happening anymore. So they had to transition their business to an online model where they maybe sold their products online instead of people having to come to the store. So COVID has made businesses really rethink what they do and how they operate. And virtually every business out there knows that they must have some type of digital marketing online presence to be able to grow their business and to be able to stay relevant. So with that said, the last thing that I'll just cover is I always, because I tell my daughter this, I always tell people, absolutely, if you are going to have a job where you're working for an employer, usually, and of course, you've got to check what the rules of the employer are, but whenever you can, always be able to have a skill set that you have learned where you can do it on your own and work for yourself if necessary. So back to what I was saying with the layoffs. Once I had my first layoff and I had been totally dependent on that income and I was the breadwinner for the family, it was devastating. And I said, I never, ever, ever want to be in that position again where I'm dependent, totally dependent on somebody else, a job that may or may not be there in the future. And it may just be circumstance. Again, with COVID, if a business had to shut down during quarantine, it was no fault of the business, but they had employees who were out of work. So I encourage you, find a skill set that you can do that people will pay for and where you can still do that on the side. So if you work work by day or work by night for a business, you still have something that you can do on the side as an entrepreneur to be able to earn money. That way you are never, ever without the ability to earn money to take care of yourself and to take care of your family. But that is all that I have in terms of my career and what I'm doing now, and some advice for you in the future. Make sure that you explore different opportunities for work. Job shadow if you can. And I tell anybody that's here in the Victoria, especially here in the Victoria area, if you want to job shadow any type of industry and you may not have a contact, absolutely look me up and connect with me. I am happy to be able to get you connected to contacts that are in that industry that will allow you to come in and job shadow. You want to see the different types of career opportunities you're going or you're considering before you make a full-fledged decision that career is for you. Because just doing a job shadow for a few hours or a day may help you realize, no, this isn't the career choice I want. Or it may solidify that, yes, it absolutely is the career choice you want. So with that said, Ms. Hunt, I am going to turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you so very much. That was really great, excellent information. Do have a couple of questions for you that have come about. Were there some classes, as you look back, were there some classes in high school that you think, wow, I wish I would have taken that class, or wish I would have paid attention better in this class?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. Um, Even now we had, I mean, in high school, we had speech and we had to take speech class. And I grew up kind of doing speaking in church. I wish we would have had more opportunity to do speech type classes. And when I had the opportunity, I wish I would have done more public speaking during high school. So whether it was, if it was reports, oral reports or things like that, or if they were asking for volunteers to do public speaking for something, I wish I would have done more of those things, because the role that I'm in, again, I'm comfortable with it now as I grew comfortable over the years, but that just would have helped prepare me even more for being able to interact with the public.
That's, it's interesting. We've had several speakers that have made that same comment with what they've ended up doing. So you had also mentioned about moving some folks that are, companies are trying to sell their products or something, moving them into the digital age. Mm-hmm. And do you have some examples or some ideas if you've got a client that is particularly resistant mm-hmm. to a certain type of social media or just kind of social media in general? Have you had those kind of situations, and what kind of particular interpersonal skills have helped you to deal with those folks?
Great question. Yes, I have absolutely had clients who they may, for whatever reason, not have liked a particular social media channel. They may have not liked Facebook for whatever reason and didn't want to be on there. And the interpersonal skills that you have to use is, again, being able to, not be combative and not argue with them when they have those opinions, but you have to be able to share information with them and educate them. Because a lot of times they just don't realize how valuable it is to do, some particular type of marketing strategy. And again, they just may not realize how valuable it could be to do Facebook. So the interpersonal skills you have to do is you have to be able to ask them questions, to understand why they don't like that particular thing or why they wouldn't want to do something. Then you have to be able to go back and do your own research and bring them information that's relevant for them and give them an example of here's where using that particular strategy, here's why being on Facebook could help you. Because, Mr. Client, you said you want to do this, this, and this, or you want to reach this particular target market. You want to be able to sell, your products to women who are between the ages of 25 and 45. Well, when you can come back and show them that's where a lot of women are on Facebook, you've just given them some education, and you give them the opportunity to now make a different choice because they have more information. But so you have to be able to know how to negotiate, how to educate people without, again, coming across, making them feel like they don't understand, or making them feel that you're talking down to them. And you have to keep them engaged in conversation.
Great. Well, thank you for that added information. So that was all the extra questions that we had. Again, you gave us some great information, very informative and inspiring presentation. I feel that you've helped to encourage students to use their education and transferable skills to help them pursue a career or careers that they can be successful at and that they will enjoy. And also want to thank you all for watching, and make it a great day.
Thank you.